Welcome to the Rockabye Revenue Podcast with me, Abby Watson. I'm a mum of 4 and a business strategist, and I train people to become hypnobirthing teachers. In the last decade, I've built a thriving baby business that grew beyond my wildest dreams. This podcast is for you if you run a business or dream of running a business in the birth and baby industry. You want to change lives whilst making more money. I'm talking about creating sustainable income whilst being present for the people that matter most. I believe for our baby businesses to have the impact we desire, we must be rewarded. On this podcast, expect me to share actionable strategies without the jargon. I've been where you are. I've built a business while raising 4 little ones, and now I'm here to help you turn your passion into profit while creating the life you've always dreamed of. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of Rockabye Revenue. Today I am going to be joined by the wonderful Sophie Conneely. Sophie is a hypnobirthing teacher based in Norfolk. She is multi-award winning and she runs her thriving hypnobirthing business alongside being mum to 2 boys. Sophie is going to be sharing with us today the highs and lows of building a hypnobirthing business. There are going to be so many tips on how to beat comparison, how to have a thriving business, and she's going to be telling us about her wonderful studio that she's had built for her one-to-one clients. I really hope you enjoy this chat as much as I will. So we have Sophie here today, and I'm so excited to be actually talking to another human because, you know, those of you who listen to this podcast a lot will know it's often me talking to me. So it's so nice to be joined by you, Sophie, today. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's so good to see you. And I've already warned Sophie about this, but let me warn the listeners. There is a window cleaner outside my window. So if you hear any weird squeaks, that's what it is.
It's not us.
It's not us. If I seem a bit awkward, it's because I'm like, do I wave to the window cleaner? Do I acknowledge them? I don't know. Anyway, let's get going. So, Sophie, am I right in saying that you've been teaching hypnobirthing nearly 2 years?
Yes, yeah, I believe I qualified in the October 2023. So yes, nearly 2 years. You've got a better memory than me, Abby.
I do remember that you trained over summer. I remember that because I'm sure it was a lovely day when you did the immersion. Yes, I very much remember that. So let's go right back to the beginning. What was it that made you decide to train to be a hypnobirthing teacher? Of all the things you could have done, why that?
I think there's a number of reasons, but I'll try and keep it short because I am known to just go off a little bit on what I'm saying. The main thing is I had 2 completely different births. My first one, I had heard of hypnobirthing and I thought, oh, what's that? What the hell is that all about? Like, I know how to breathe. It's just going to be about breathing, you know? So I didn't do any birth prep and I had a really traumatic birth. And that was 6 years ago. And that still kind of haunts me a bit now, if I'm honest. And then when I fell pregnant with my second son, I just knew that I couldn't go through that again. And I thought, oh, do you know what? Like, I'll try this hypnobirthing thing, you know, see what it's all about. And it was brilliant, absolutely amazing. And I went on to have the most wonderful birth. And which I didn't even know that was possible to have such a good birth. So I was already a really big advocate for hypnobirthing anyway, and I used to tell people all about it. And then I saw your free training pop up on Facebook, and I was like, oh, okay. And there was a couple of days where I was a bit like, oh, do I join? Do I not? And then I just sort of occurred to me and I was like, do you know what? I really want something new. I want to learn new things. I want to challenge myself a little bit. I'd been a stay-at-home mum for a little while. And I thought, yeah, I think this is my time to sort of do something for me. And I'm so glad I did. And I think it was the first, I think I did your ones in the evening. I think it was even the first evening. I was like, yeah, I'm joining this. I love it.
Really? Oh, wow. Oh, I love that so much. I haven't told Sophie to mention the free training, but actually, I am running the free training again, starting on the 22nd of September. So if anyone's
Oh,
listening to
not
this
long.
and want to, take me up on that offer where they can sample what training as a hypnobirthing teacher is like Sophie did, it's a great
Yeah,
opportunity right now.
yeah.
Wow. So it lit something inside you and you felt like, right, this is my time to do something for me.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I think um, when I joined, you really made it just easy to follow and straightforward, because one of my worries was, well, well, I'm not a midwife. And, am I clever enough to do this? Like, I've only sort of known a couple of jobs and they've been in like healthcare pretty much since I started work. And I thought, oh, I don't know. But you made it very like, actually, it can be for everyone. If you're passionate about it, you can make it work. So, yeah, I really like that. So, if you're thinking about it, join the training.
Thanks, Sophie. So you touched upon fears there, and I resonate with that so much. That was my number one fear. Like, I'm not a midwife. My own hypnobirthing teacher, when I, was expecting my first baby, was a midwife. So I guess for me, that was all I knew of people that teach hypnobirthing. So a bit like you, I was like, oh, could I do this? Were there any other fears that you had starting out?
Yeah, and I just smacked my elbow. Sorry, if you hear that. Um, yeah, and I'm like my worst critique as well. So I will pick out things in myself like, well, you can't do that because of this, and you can't do that because of that. So definitely the not being sort of clever enough. I can be a bit ditzy sometimes. I don't use these big fancy words. And that might sound really silly because you offer the most brilliant training, but at that first point I was like, well, people will be cleverer than me, people might have done this and this. So that was a big fear. And also, what about if it didn't work? What about if it just flopped? What about if I put all this money and effort into it and it just didn't work? So that they were my two biggest fears, I would say.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
have any fears when you started your training, Abby?
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm nodding along with what you're saying there because yeah, like I too feel like I don't always get my words right. I just demonstrated it there, didn't I? My words don't always come out
Proof
right.
pudding.
Absolutely. And yeah, like I tell you what was one for me, I'm not woo enough. And I'm not sure this is the case as much these days. But when I trained a decade ago, hypnobirthing was very much seen as this kind of alternative therapy. It was often grouped with things like Reiki and, things that a lot of people think are for a certain type of person, and I didn't put myself in that category. And as a result, I felt like, oh, people won't take me seriously. People will think I'm too, I don't know what the word is, like, I was going to say normal, but I'm really not normal. But like
You said it,
mainstream,
Abby.
maybe I'm too, I don't know, like, could be judged as cares more about how she looks than the substance, because I do like to curl my hair and put some makeup on, and, maybe underneath that there was a little fear that maybe people think I'm not serious enough. Gosh, we're going deep here, aren't we,
I
Sophie?
know, I know. How are we going to get out of this?
But yeah, so I definitely had massive fears, and it's really interesting because a lot of those things that we've both just said, like they're not using big words, I now see are my superpowers. And I know that that will be the case for you as well, Sophie. Like, your
Yeah.
clients won't want you using big words to impress them, because actually it's just going to confuse them or make them feel like they don't know enough. It's
Yeah.
that kind of straightforwardness, that relatability that is really impactful for the
Yeah.
types of people that we work with, and I hope you can see that now too, 2 years in.
Yeah, and that took me quite a long time to realise that. And as cliche as it sounds, but being more me work, it really works.
Yeah.
I just find, well, one, it's easier because it's me. But before I'd try and like talk a little bit posher and not sound as maybe common. I don't know, but it doesn't work. I couldn't keep that up. That wasn't me. Um, and like you said, I think clients actually appreciate that because if you say it in a, the information that you're giving them in a just a down to earth, easy to understand way, they're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it did take me a while to get that, but now I realize actually that is what works for me. So everything just feels so much easier. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I totally hear you. And, it can take a bit of time to almost like discover that, that actually being more you is so powerful. And it's almost like the opposite to what we've been taught in other areas of working life. Like, as a teacher, so I used to be a secondary school teacher, that was certainly not being more you. You had to be a certain persona. So coming into this business world, like, it's something to get used to, but it's so freeing, isn't it?
yeah,
To just be able to be you rather than being, rather than pretending to be something that you're not.
yeah, absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
mean, that's one of the reasons that I wanted you on here, Sophie, because I think, you so beautifully do that. Like, I've met you in person twice,
E- 3 times.
3 times. Yes, because
Yeah,
you came to the first ever Inspiration Day.
I did, and that
Yes.
almost feels like I was in a completely different situation then. I had not completed my training. I think I'd done a couple of modules.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, from then the second year to then obviously the one that we had this year, completely different. But yes, yeah, it would have been 3 years.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I've met you 3 times, but I feel like I know you so well, and that's because so beautifully you put your personality across through your marketing. And that is something that you should be so proud of. And I really think anyone listening to this podcast today can absolutely learn from, that we don't have to look online and think, oh, I need to be more like them. Actually, it's about being more us, and
yeah,
that absolutely is such a key way to get the right clients
yeah,
too.
100%. And thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, sort of repeating myself a little bit. Like when I first started out, I thought everybody just needed the most information possible. I needed to research everything. I needed to know everything. I would just reel off all this information. And I look back now and I think they didn't need all that. They needed that personal touch. They
Mm,
needed me to care about them and to make a real effort and give them my time. And I think that's was a big turning point in the last 2 years for me because it just feels so much nicer for them and for me as well.
yeah.
And if there is something that I don't know, I'm quite happy to say, actually, I haven't come across that yet. I'll have a look into it for you. But focusing my time more on like what they want out of the course and their preferences and really actually building a relationship with them and their birth partner just is so much nicer. So I think that's probably where it sort of changed instead of just being this information based
Right.
Instagram, all these Instagram posts, trying to switch it up a little bit to make people actually feel, oh, actually, she does it from the heart as such, not just
Yeah.
information based. So yeah,
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I really think that now more than ever, it's really important that many of us embrace that, because information is not hard to find these days, is it?
Yeah.
Like when I was first pregnant, you know, my son is nearly 13. So 13 years ago, I was expecting my first baby. And unless you bought a book or went on a course, it was really hard to find information. And yeah, we had the internet, but it wasn't like today.
No.
Whereas now, oh my gosh, you can go on ChatGPT and ask it something, can't you? And get something so specific to what you're looking for. Information is blooming everywhere. And I really think when we're working with expectant parents, new parents, that has a negative impact, that it's actually really overwhelming. So I totally agree that, you know, really focusing on that personal side with a sprinkling of information so they know that, you know, you get it, but not, you know, not presenting an encyclopedia to people
Yeah.
is really, really powerful. And I guess this goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the fears as well, because that's a big fear when you're starting out, isn't it? I don't know enough. What if they ask me a question and I don't know the answer to it?
Yeah.
But actually, it's not all about the information at all, is it?
Yeah. And do you know what? I haven't had that many people ask me something. I'm not, you know, blowing my own trumpet saying I know loads. I know what we all know, you know. But I haven't had questions that I think, oh my God, how am I going to answer this? Oh my God, what do I say? Like, I don't think people really care about that. They don't want to know, oh, the statistics on this at this particular hospital in this month. You know, it just doesn't feel like that. But that, yeah, going back, that was a big fear. But I haven't really found that to be a problem. You know, it's actually almost the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, isn't it funny that we almost like preempt all these things? Oh, I'm going to get asked questions that I don't know the answer to. I'm going to look an idiot. And actually, you know, people are not there to try and catch us out. And
Yeah,
often the questions that they ask are the real straightforward ones, and it's such an honor to be able to answer that for them, because they probably dared and ask their midwife because it feels
yeah,
like it's something that just everybody should know anyway, you know.
yeah.
And it's so lovely to be that person in someone's life that gets to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the only one I had before was I was doing an event and it was quite a busy event at a local showground. And I don't like to be that sort of teacher that I'm trying to sell. I just want to be myself, and if people like that, then great. But I remember I had this couple come up to me. I really hope they're not listening. But I'm sure they won't remember.
Yeah.
And her partner almost tried to say, like, well, why should we book with you? I want to hear why you're different. And I thought, oh my goodness, you know, and I answered like on the spot. It probably wasn't the best answer I could have given, but also that made me think, I don't need to try and convince you that I'm right for you. Like I don't want to be put on the spot. So actually having the confidence, this is what I've changed as well, having the confidence to actually say, well, you're not my ideal client either. I might not be your ideal teacher, that's absolutely fine, but also I don't think we're right to work with each other. And I feel like I've got that from you, Abby, because you're so lovely and so down to earth, but also having these boundaries. I feel like you've taught us as well, doing the training with you, having boundaries to say, actually, no, like that's not right for me. I don't need to say yes to absolutely everything and every single person.
Absolutely. I mean, oh gosh, you just saying that guy saying that, like, it just pricks up the hairs on my neck. Like, challenge you in that respect.
Yeah, and it
What
was
are they
almost
going to
like,
be like, of
well,
course?
I'll be asking loads of questions if we do book with you. And I was like, okay.
Someone else round there, go to
Yeah,
them.
just go there. They'll be right for you.
And this is the thing, we are not desperate, are we? We're not desperate. We don't have to do a dance for people to prove that, we're a great teacher.
They definitely wouldn't pick me if I had to dance for 'em. This is too left feet.
I hear you, me too. Absolutely. Like, we do not have to just almost like perform for people and convince them. And I mean, I'm so glad that actually that experience didn't freak you out, because it's so unusual, that, isn't it, for someone to be so like, direct, I suppose. And I bet his partner was absolutely kicking him to like shut up. I'd die, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I know. I was like, if you're not going to give him a kick under the table, then I will.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's let's chat about the business side of things then. So you've been trained almost 2 years, and I now see this confident business owner, multi-award winning, beautiful venue and lots of incredible feedback. What has been like the best bits, the successes? What has been the wins in that time?
Oh, there's so many. Qualifying to begin with. I never forget that day when I got the email from you, and I had some really, really nice feedback. And I thought, oh my God, like I've done it. I've qualified. Like it felt amazing. And I'll never forget that day and that feeling. So that was my first one. And then I think it was less than a year. Yeah, because I qualified in October. So the following June and July, I won the award with you at the Inspiration Day. And then I think it was about a month later, I want to say, I got the award for Hypnobirthing Teacher of the Year for Norfolk, where I live. So that was like, what? I actually thought, surely they've sent that to the wrong person. Like, and I was like, I don't believe it. But yeah, once it sunk in a little bit, I was like, oh my God, I've really done it. And then having my own studio as well. That was always a dream. And I just feel like when I walk in there, it's like, oh, this is really mine. Like, it's so nice to have that space.
Tell us a little bit about your studio, because I know for a lot of people, it's the goal to have their own space to deliver classes. So tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so I'm lucky enough to have quite a biggish garden. So at the end of my garden, my dad has built a studio. So there's two little sort of separate rooms inside. So you walk in, we have the little, I like to call it like the intro room. So you have like the tea and coffee, and I have slippers for clients.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a little basket of slippers, and some books or anything for them to just look through. And then into the other section, have like some nice fairy lights on the wall. I've got a little TV, so I screen share to there. So it's visual learning as well. Again, not just giving information and hearing me talk for 2 hours. And then I've got a nice sofa, blankets. It's really cozy. And because it's made out of wood, the smell, I do not want that to ever go. It's so nice. So I do all of my one-to-one courses and like essential courses from there. Bigger events I do need to hire somewhere. But it's lovely. I love it.
Oh, it sounds amazing. I love the touch of the slippers. Like, as soon as you get a pair of slippers on, you're cozying on down, aren't you? So I love that touch.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it was to help, not get any mud on my rug, but, also, I want you to feel relaxed, so put your slippers on.
yeah, love that. Oh, how amazing. So how long have you had the studio then?
Only since March.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
it's very new.
fairly new. Yeah, but it almost just came together really quick. My poor dad. I don't know how he hasn't needed a back or like a. He's had a hip replacement, but that wasn't due to the building the studio. But yeah, bless him doing it all on his own. But yeah, no, only about 6 months or so, so it's quite new.
Wow, wow. And does that work well then, being able to teach clients very close to home rather than going to them?
It's so much easier. So
Yeah.
much easier. I still offer people that choice if they want to, because I know what it's like when you feel most comfortable at home.
Yeah.
So I have still done a couple of clients in their own home. Of course, I say, it is based in my studio. However, if you feel more comfortable being at home, then I'm happy to come to you. But just having everything in one place, it's all set up. There I am cleaning the windows, absolutely loving it. I hate cleaning windows, but I love it up there. But it works so much easier just with my two boys. Haven't got to lug everything to another place and then back home again. And we have little movie nights up there as well sometimes. Me and the two boys, like, it's so cozy. So it works so much better. So
Wow, I love that. I mean, yeah, I've never done it that way. I went to people's homes, but I can imagine, creating your own lovely nest is very exciting. And like you said, you're not lugging things about. So yeah, love that. Quick pause before we get back in to tell you that if you are currently thinking about becoming a hypnobirthing teacher, I have the opportunity for you. Starting on the 22nd of September, I'm going to be running a free training called Could You Be a Hypnobirthing Teacher, where you'll get the opportunity to learn in-demand skills to give you a strong foundation ready if you decide to take the plunge to be a hypnobirthing teacher. And guess what? It's completely free. It's over 3 days for an hour each day, all online. And don't worry, if you miss it, you'll be sent the recording. So sign up. The link is in the show notes, and I can't wait to see you there.
yeah.
So you mentioned your two boys there. How have you managed running your business around being a busy mum?
With great difficulty, I would say. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I took a while to find that balance, and I'm still not perfect at it now, and I don't think I ever will be. However, I do think I've set more stricter boundaries. So I do try and dedicate specific days and times for work. But I think before I was, cooking dinner and I'd be like, oh, I need to make this real. Or I just need to get the boys in the bath. But I just need to reply to this email. And it was just all overlapping. And I was like, this just can't go on. Like, I'm confusing myself, let alone other people. So yeah, it's took a while, but yeah, being a bit stricter with myself and actually sticking to it. And I always remember you saying, Abby, that I think it was a Monday morning, you would take yourself to Starbucks
Yeah.
for a couple of hours, and that is your work time. You would specifically go out so you didn't then have the jobs at home, staring at you saying, wash me or clean me. And it would just be your work time. So I think I've taken your advice on that. But yeah, how do you do it with four?
Yeah, I mean,
That big sigh, like,
yes.
I don't know.
How do I do it? Well, yeah, I have to have those like boundary times, definitely. And the amount that I can get done when I take myself away is completely different
Yeah,
to when I sit at home. I think with me, I've almost got good at imperfect action,
yeah,
and I really think early on in my business, I used to very much feel like if I'm not going to be able to do it right, there's no point doing it. So if I'm not going to be able to create this social media post in the way that I want to do it, I'm not doing it. But now I've realised that, okay, so the social media post that I want to do, it would be best as a carousel, but I ain't got the time. So actually, I'm going to go old school and I'm going to post a photo and have it as the caption,
yeah,
and done is better than perfect. And there are times in my life, because, you know, motherhood is like this, isn't there? There'll be really busy seasons and then there'll be quieter seasons.
Yeah,
And there are
absolutely.
times where I can get loads done and I fully embrace that. And then there are times where I don't do much. But I really feel like that's the beauty of self-employment. If I was employed, I'd be expected to be the same level of productive every single week, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Whereas actually being self-employed, I can work in those flurries, you know,
Yeah.
which really suits being a busy mum for me.
Yeah. And I think our motivation dips as well in
Yeah.
quieter times. We might not feel as motivated as, we do in busier months, and that's okay. And if it's easier to post things that don't make you feel so overwhelmed, I actually think for people looking at your content, it's sometimes easier for them. Sometimes I think, oh, there's a 10-page carousel, but I want to get to the end, but I can't be bothered to read it all or watch a 1-minute reel. And I'm thinking, oh, come on, hurry up, finish. Actually, sometimes I think it's nice for people and quite refreshing to see a picture, simple caption, done.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, sometimes we can almost overcomplicate things, not just for ourselves, but for our potential clients too. And that like strive for doing things perfectly, it's just not doable when you're a busy parent.
Yeah.
I think for me, the big thing that helps is always remembering that me working like this is, oh my gosh, like by far superior to me having a 9 to 5. So even on days where I feel low motivation, you know, and I think, oh, I can't be bothered recording that podcast or, you know, doing that thing, I remind myself that once I get started on it, I'll be all right. And actually, like chipping away at this business keeps me from the hell that might be, you know, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's my personal motivation. I I'm unemployable, I think, these days. Like, because I'm too used to doing my own thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It becomes quite like infectious. Like I can't imagine working for someone else now. It sounds really bad, but I love it too much. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But how long were you a teacher for?
So let me think. About 8 years.
Oh, so you stuck at it.
Including like, so when I'd finished uni, I went to work in a school, like as a TA and then a cover supervisor, and then I did my training and then was a teacher. So yeah, it felt a lifetime, but now when I think back, 8 years isn't that long, really. I mean, I never intended to leave it forever, but I found this,
Yeah.
you know, and this, oh my gosh, doesn't even compare because
Yeah.
it's, yeah, my life is so different how it can work like this. Um, so yes. So what has really, so you've had all these incredible successes, you know, winning awards, you know, teaching clients, having your beautiful studio. Like, what has worked for you? Like, what things? Because there's so many ways of like boosting your business, isn't there? And we talk
Yeah.
about a lot of those ways on this very podcast, but we don't do them all, and we try things and they don't work for us or we don't like them. What has really worked for you?
So going off what you then said, we don't do all of the things that could possibly work for us. I was in that trap. I thought if I just put some bits on Instagram, I'll have all these clients, it will be great, I'll be so busy, and it doesn't work like that. So I think what I found has worked is getting out there a bit, actually showing people that I exist. I'm not just behind this Instagram page or this Facebook page. Like, I'm here, and you like meeting people new, and actually having the courage to go up to someone. I know this sounds, maybe some people wouldn't like this, but I've gone up to people that are pregnant and just started talking to them. And just having the courage to do that,
Yeah.
putting leaflets out. I know some leaflets can go one way or the other, but they've worked quite well for me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've gone on my local radio, and again, people have then messaged me from there, and actually being real
Yeah.
and authentic. I shared my birth story with my eldest son, Elliot, on my social media a little while back, and it was so scary because I thought, oh my god, people are going to really know about, like, I'm going to scare people, you know. But I thought it's such a big part of me, and I want to be open with people. But I got such a good response back from that. So I thought, actually, like, going back on what we said a little while ago, being me and just being real has
Yeah.
worked.
Love that. Absolutely. And that getting out in real life,
Yeah,
like chatting to people,
it can
like
be easy to hide behind a screen,
absolutely.
can't it? So
Yeah, I once got a client from soft play, and believe me, I didn't go up and go, "Hello, have you heard of hypnobirthing?" We're not saying that, are we? But like I love pregnancy and birth. So
yeah,
you there with your own child and you see a pregnant mum, you want to strike up a conversation anyway, don't you? And
yeah,
then, if it gets to like talking about the birth, like they often ask you about yours and it just
yeah.
naturally evolves, doesn't it? To you
Yeah, we
you
all
then
share too
like
much
talking.
information, don't we, when
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
pregnant? But I would have done that before. Like, I love meeting new people and chatting and things. I can literally chat to anyone. So I would have done that before. So it's not in like oh, I see a pregnant woman, like, let's try and get a hypnobirthing client. Like, I
Oh, yeah.
genuinely am interested. So I love just hearing about how they feel, and what's going on, and yeah,
Absolutely. And I really think that that's something that we forget in this digital age, don't we? We forget that actually these old school ways are still, of course, really powerful, and the connection and just chatting. And if anything, you having a chat with, that one person, like that will impact them more than like seeing 20 Instagram posts from you,
yeah,
won't it? Because
yeah,
it's that
absolutely.
real human connection. So, yeah, I love that you've said that. Anything else then that's really worked for you?
I think another big one is remembering to stay in my own lane.
Mm,
And I think you mentioned this before, Abby, about not comparing yourself constantly to everybody else. And I did that for probably the first year, and I didn't benefit from it at all. I really thought, oh, I need to see their things on Instagram because it looks bad if I unfollow them, or it
mm,
looks bad, if I don't comment and like everything. I want to applaud people and show that I think they're doing well.
mm.
But I think there's some people, if they're really having a bad effect on you, like, you don't have to see their things. Like, you can, I was going to say you can be selfish, but it's not being selfish, it's protecting you and your business. So yeah, not worrying about what other people are doing, and stay in my own lane because I can't get stuck there. If it's just me in that lane, then I'm happy. I'm happy there.
Absolutely. Like, I often think, like, what would we be posting? What would our website look like? What would we be saying to people if we knew we were the only hypnobirthing teacher in the world? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And perhaps it'd be so different to what we're doing now because we're so focused on what everybody else is doing and what they might think of it and what judgment
yeah,
they might have. But actually, for that person that decides to come and work with us, we are the only hypnobirthing teacher in the world.
yeah.
And
We've got
actually,
to remember that. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think we all fall into that comparison trap from time to time. And yeah, like I have certainly been there. And let's face it, I still have times like that now. You can see
yeah,
something that you didn't even intend to see, and you're like, why am I feeling like this about it? I logically know that is no direct threat to me, but yet I feel it in my body,
yeah,
I feel threatened
yeah,
by how someone else is online or
Yeah,
what they're doing. It's a funny old feeling,
it
but
is, and it's not a nice feeling. So then I got to a point and I was like, I don't have to feel like this. I can change that, and that's what we teach in hypnobirthing as well, isn't it? Pregnant women being influenced by social media, TV programs, and all of these things. And we teach them to actually come away from that and, see the positive things about birth. Well, that's the same for us as teachers, isn't it? See the positive things about other teachers that make you feel good and that praise you and you praise them. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. And like you said, I think everybody feels like it, but it's when it becomes a real problem, isn't it? It's like, actually, I need to do something about this.
yeah, absolutely. And the reality is that if we let those feelings really impact us, we won't have longevity doing this work.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
if you ended up feeling like that all the time, why would you put yourself through it?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't. So for the sake of ourselves and our potential clients, we do have to protect ourselves from that normal comparison that we can all feel at times, and that can be as simple as unfollowing or muting
Yeah,
or only having a separate Instagram account, for example, that you look at birthy stuff, and then your personal one is all for cat memes and
yeah.
you know
Mine's food related.
yeah, food pictures and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
love it.
absolutely, because we all need that kind of escapism as well from what we're doing. We don't want to be scrolling at 11 o'clock and start thinking about what the competition in air quotes, is up to. We want
Yeah,
to see what tasty food we could have tomorrow, don't we?
absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Abby. But that's what I was doing before. I fell in that trap. And it
Yeah,
took me a while to get out, and I was like, oh, well, their posts look great. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, they're launching this event. And I thought, and I just slowly went back and
yeah,
just let them get in front. And I was like, actually, no. Everyone has the opportunity to do well,
yeah,
and people shouldn't compare themselves. And I say that when I am someone that's done that, but I'm so glad I've got out of that
yeah, yeah.
and realised, actually, put yourself out there, be confident about it. I know I'm good at what I do, so embrace it, show people that.
Yeah,
But that's took a while to feel like that, but I'm so glad I'm there. And if anyone listening does feel in that, that mindset, like they're not good enough or these people are doing better than them, it's human to feel like that, I think, sometimes. But also, what can you do to get out of there? Because it's not fair on you to feel like that. You don't have to be in that place.
yeah, absolutely. And it does make us shrink, doesn't it? It
Yeah,
makes us, you know, I've had it where I've noticed I've stopped being visible because I feel like, oh, I've got nothing to share. And
yeah,
of course we blooming have. And there's people there that need us. But in our mind, we're so impacted by all the other stuff we're seeing. And it's just not fair, is it? It's not fair on ourselves. It's not fair on our potential clients. And it's not fair on our families, is it? It'd be like if we had, I don't know, a job, I don't know, in an office. And we're like, oh, my next door neighbour's doing really well in her job. I'm not going to work tomorrow because of that. We just would we?
it's
Sorry,
so
kids,
true though.
no food today because I'm not going to work because my neighbour's doing better than me.
Yeah,
We wouldn't be able to do that. But for some reason, with business, we can end up doing that. So I
yeah.
blooming hope, Sophie, someone's listening to this and they're like, oh my gosh, that is me. I'm doing that right now. And yeah, they start protecting themselves from it because it's horrible.
Yeah. And like you then said, in an office job or any job, people can get promotions, people can leave, new people can come.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that effect like we feel it.
Yeah.
But it's so true, oh, that person's got a promotion. Nope, not going to work. like
Yeah.
Imagine if everybody done that. Like you said, kids have got no food, you know, you got a dry bit of bread tonight. Like, sorry, but Sandra in the office has got a promotion. So
Yeah, so what's the point of me going? You know?
yeah, yeah, it's so true when you put it like that. So true.
Yeah. And I really think sometimes we have to put ourselves in these kind of like, of course, running a business is the real world, but the kind of like typical kind of job situations. You know,
Yeah.
last week's podcast, I talked about, you know, it's not making our business a priority. We don't have that choice when it's like a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And sometimes we've got to think, okay, I'm not getting to where I want to be, but is it something that I'm not doing that's making that the case, you know? So I would love to know what excites you the most about the future of your business.
Oh, I feel like meeting new clients. I feel like that's such a if they've picked me to be their teacher, I feel like they've got a story. Everyone's got a story behind them, and the people that I've met so far, you know, I can remember how they felt when they fell pregnant, or you know what if they had a boy or a girl, and what they called them, and I stay in touch with pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like, oh, will you go away? Like, but I'm there. I just love to know how people's getting on, how they're getting on, and yeah, I love people's stories and how they've found me and how they feel the course went and how that's impacted their birth. And yeah, I love all that. But also I am going to be starting some pregnancy relaxation classes.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't yet. I've sort of just been focusing more on like one-to-one courses, and I was doing group before, but I've gone back to one-to-one now. And I do like retreats as well. So I've got a Mama and Bump retreat day coming up in October, the start of October. And again, they're such a nice way, because I'm used to like these one-to-one courses. Then going into like a group, I'm like, whoa, this is great. Look at all these people. So yeah, like bigger and better events, hopefully.
fabulous. Love
Yeah.
that. And then to end with, what would be your one piece of advice for anybody thinking or starting out in this industry?
Oh, I only got to pick one, Abby.
You have, yes.
Oh, okay. This sounds a bit cliche, but believe in yourself. Because I think if you don't, how are other people meant to believe in you?
Yeah,
And if you're not showing up for yourself, or you know, people aren't going to show up for you,
yeah,
putting yourself this is going into about 3 now, isn't it? But you know, really believe that you can be a good teacher, and I think the rest will then follow on from that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
Love that.
you know, we mentioned it a little while ago how you can, you know, drift off into different people's lanes and watch they're doing. That can have an effect. Like you can then think, oh, I'm not good enough, you know. But if you stick in that lane of, you know, I do actually believe I'm good at this, I feel like you just show up so much more you and authentic and real. And it just, I think that passion that you can have is infectious to people as well.
Yeah,
The way you can come across. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Because people don't pay us for our time as such, do they? They pay for almost like, and this sounds a bit woo, but our energy, you
Yeah.
know, our vibes, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that comes from that, you know, our belief that we know what we're doing, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing that I would also say is it's okay to have doubts, but just keep knowing you're doing a great job, like, and you're learning, and yeah, you are enough, you
Yeah.
know?
And I
And that
remember,
doesn't have to be perfect, does it?
no, exactly. And I remember someone saying to me something about school lessons, and instantly this one teacher stuck out for me. And I thought, oh, why have I remembered them? And I thought that's because their lessons were fun. It was a bloody
Mm,
science lesson. I hate science. I couldn't think of anything
yeah.
worse. However, this new teacher came and he was brilliant. He made things simple. He was fun. He just had this energy about him. And I was like, oh, now I get it, you know? And I think that's how we can be as well, isn't it? And you're great at that, Abby. Like, you just make everyone, every review, every comment you have from people that have trained with you are like, Abby's just amazing. Like, you just have that, again, I don't like the word, but vibe about you. Like, you make everyone feel happy and like lift everyone. And I think that's, again, being infectious, isn't it? People are like, oh, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sophie. But you're so right. Like, yeah, like it goes back to what we were saying earlier when we're freaking out about, do I know enough? But
Yeah.
actually, it's not really about that. Like, it's about who you are to that person. And if you can, make them feel a bit better,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful note to end with. Oh, thank you so much for coming on, Sophie. It's been absolutely gorgeous. And where can people find you?
So on Instagram, Facebook, just Bumps and Births. My website is having a revamp at the end of
Ooh.
the month. So I will just be bumpsandbirths.com, hopefully at the end of the month, maybe going into October. But yes, my website is on my social media as well, so you can find me there. But thanks so much for having me, Abby.
Oh, it's been lovely. Thanks for listening, everyone. And we shall see you next time on another episode of Rockabye Revenue. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Rockabye Revenue. I hope this episode has left you with some fresh ideas and bundles of motivation. If you enjoyed this episode, do make sure you click subscribe so you never miss an installment. And if you found this episode useful, I'd love you forever if you leave a 5-star review, helping this podcast reach the ears of more of the helpers in this world. And remember, keep changing lives. See you next time.